And we are back. Welcome back to the Premier League prediction series. We are now at game week 10. Hard to believe it is already a quarter of the season gone, and we've got another massive game week for you this week. Before we get into it, a massive thank you to all of those who participated in this week's European predictions. One of the most successful weeks on the channel for European predictions, and we got over 1,500 views on yesterday's Europa League and Europa Conference League videos. So thank you as always for your continued support. And if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video if you do enjoy my predictions, and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. We have of course got all of the EFL predictions coming for you this week. Let's get in to Premier League game week 10. And what better place to start for the quarter point of the season than the side that are top of the league at the quarter mark. And that is, of course, Tottenham Hotspur, who travel to Crystal Palace in tonight's match. So, fantasy football fans, remember there is a game tonight. It's a Friday night football, so make sure you get all of your stuff done before the end of the day. And this is the sort of game that perfectly tests the credentials of Tottenham Hotspur. Now, it's very reminiscent of the Arsenal fans last year that were like, we're in a title race, we're going all the way. If you are in a title race, Tottenham fans, you win this game tonight, because these are the games that title-winning sides win. Away to a side that are very good at home, very defensively solid, and play good football. Now, I'm not convinced by Tottenham just yet. They've had some good results against some good teams, but like I say, these are the sort of fixtures that you have to win if you are to be considered serious title challengers. In my head, Tottenham aren't serious title challengers yet, so I lay the gauntlet down to them and say, go on, beat Crystal Palace, because I'm going for a 1-1 draw. They definitely have the capability of doing it, don't get me wrong, but like I say, this will be the test for them. I think this is a proper, Premier League fixture which settles the sort of debates over where a side actually are. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw, and we shall see. From Friday night, we move to Saturday at lunchtime, and it is Chelsea taking on Brentford. Now, both of these sides had differences into what I expected last week. I thought Chelsea would beat Arsenal. They ended up throwing it away after some very questionable substitutions from Mauricio Pochettino. Brentford seemed to finally get their act together with a great 3-0 win over Burnley. So both sides are going to be going into this game with mixed confidence. Like I say, it is the early kickoff on Saturday, which always seems to play some sort of part in how the game is played. I still think at home Chelsea have to beat Brentford, and that is with the absolute utmost respect to Brentford. But Chelsea, on paper, are a much better team, player for player. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I was going to say 3-1 for a moment there. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Chelsea. But we shall see. I think Chelsea should win it, but Brentford more than capable of pulling off an upset. The first of two 3 o'clock kickoffs sees Arsenal taking on Sheffield United. And, well, quite frankly, if this is anything other than an Arsenal win, then I think something has clearly gone wrong for Arsenal. Again, with the greatest respect to Sheffield United, the way Arsenal are playing this season, the way Sheffield are playing this season, this should really only be a pretty comfortable Arsenal win, and I'm going to go for 4-0 to Arsenal. The other 3 o'clock kickoff sees Bournemouth taking on Burnley in a battle of the relegation zone. Both these sides in desperate need of a win, and when always these sort of games come around, it always ends up being a case of which team is going to take the chances on the day. Both these sides like to play possession, which quite frankly is, I think, the reason they're not doing very well. These are sides that haven't quite got the quality to outdo other teams, so I just can't really split them. I think they're both going to battle for supremacy over possession. I think it's going to be a very limited chances game, but I can see both sides grabbing a goal here or there. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, but it wouldn't surprise me to see this be 1-0 either way to one of the sides. The evening game on Saturday sees Wolves taking on Newcastle. Now, if it wasn't for how poorly Newcastle played against Borussia Dortmund, I would be sitting here going for a Newcastle win pretty comfortably. And that is, again, with the utmost respect to Wolves, because Wolves have played absolutely fantastic this season and have been starting to pull off the results now. So if you watch the Monday Night Football, you can see how much work Gary O'Neill puts into his preparation for every single fixture. And best believe they're going to be more than ready for Newcastle this weekend. And off the back of Newcastle losing to Borussia Dortmund in midweek, I am now going to call this game as another 1-1 draw. Now, obviously, Newcastle could very easily bounce back. There is a lot of doubt over Isak's fitness as well. I just think Wolves deserve a big result. I know they've already got one against Manchester City, but I think they could get another one against Newcastle this weekend. On to the first of another 5 fixtures on Sunday, and we start off with the earliest of kickoffs at 1 o'clock. We have West Ham taking on Everton. Now, West Ham were very poor in the Europa League last night, so it makes it very difficult to sort of place this game now because Everton have played very, very well over the last few weeks, and like I say, off the back of West Ham losing to Olympiacos and getting, quite frankly, hammered by Aston Villa, no pun intended, last weekend, it now throws this fixture up in the air, but I have to think that West Ham should be beating Everton. So I'm going to go for 2-0 to West Ham. I don't really think Everton should be causing too many problems defensively for that West Ham defence. Speaking of hammerings from Aston Villa, we now come to Aston Villa taking on Luton on the first of 3 2 o'clock kickoffs on Sunday. And sorry, Dave, I'm going 5-0 to Aston Villa. They are just so good at home right now, and to then go to AZ Alkmaar last night, one of the best teams in Holland, and absolutely obliterate them as well. They're arguably the most informed team in the Premier League right now with the performances they're putting in and the scorelines they're producing. And I just think it'll be too much for Luton Town. As much as I would love to see Luton get a result at Villa Park, I don't see them being the side to stop Villa going on this, continuing their incredible run of wins at home. Next up, it's Brighton taking on Fulham. And again, as much as I think Fulham are capable of doing something in this game, I think Brighton are just too good at home. They proved that again last night against Ajax with a comfortable 2-0 win. And I'm going to go for a 3-0 win over Fulham in this one. And then the final 2 o'clock game on Sunday sees Liverpool taking on Nottingham Forest. And I'm just going to go for my bog standard Liverpool sort of setup, whereby they're probably going to score a lot of goals due to their attacking prowess, but they're always liable to leak a goal here or there. So I'm going to go for a 4-1 win to Liverpool. And what's that I'm hearing? They've actually cancelled all games after 2 o'clock on Sunday. So I guess that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, leave a comment down in the comment section as to what you think is going to happen in this week's games. And I'll see you there. Obviously, look, right, we've got to talk about it. I think we're in massive trouble in this one. And I'm basically just going to reiterate what I said going into the FA Cup final last season. Manchester United could play their best game of the season, have all the refereeing decisions go their way, City have an off day, and City could still win this game. Because, quite frankly, that's just how far behind Manchester City, Manchester United are right now. I just don't see a scenario where we beat Manchester City on Sunday. I really don't. I just think they're too good, and I just think we're too weak-minded to deal with a fixture like this right now. You've got to look at the, like I say, capitulation in the FA Cup final, the 7-0 defeat to Anfield. I think we absolutely have to score the first goal in this game, but looking at how we've played in the last few weeks, yes, we've won 3 games in a row, but blooming now, who have they been against? They've been against absolute teams that we should be beating relatively comfortably, not scraping last-minute winners from Scott McTominay and hanging on in the last few minutes against Sheffield United and saving a penalty in the 97th minute from Copenhagen. We should be beating those teams easily. This is Manchester City. This is the best team in the world. This is the treble winners. This is the side that will just absolutely pick us apart if we give them an inch. And quite frankly, I think we're going to give them more than an inch. So I just don't give us any hope for this one. I really do think this can be anything. And my only hope is that what Manchester City tend to do is that once they get ahead in these recent times, they do tend to ease off a little bit. And look at the Brighton game as a prime example. City could have won that 5 or 6-0, but they eased off after they went 2-0 up and actually ended up letting Brighton back into the game. So I think that's Manchester United's only hope of getting potentially anything out of this game. So I'm going to go for 3-0 to Manchester City. I just don't see how we score. I just don't think we've got the capability of scoring against Manchester City unless they make a mistake. But look, we beat them at Old Trafford last year. We could beat them at Old Trafford again this year. I just don't think it's going to happen. Thank you very much for watching once again. I will see you again in my next video, which will be the post-match reaction to Manchester United against Manchester City, where hopefully I will be in a good mood. I'll see you then.